Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a beautiful top tick this morning that we're going to go ahead and dive into. 8R for around $7,300. Beautiful short off a 4-hour order block. And I'm going to go ahead and rewind the charts, break this down for you guys. So let's rewind to 9:30 actually. I got to the market a little late this morning, so I arrived around 10:30, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into price action. We'll go up to the 15-minute time frame, and we'll go ahead and mark out our London high and London low. So you can see that London low was all the way down here, and then we also had London high up here. So overall, we had a pretty bearish London session. However, it is looking like we were recovering coming in to New York Open. So the main thing I was looking at as far as the 15-minute time frame, we were still respecting this order block right here. So I was noticing that. We had also done a little bit of, shifting in here towards the downside, but overall we were still respecting this order block. And then we had another order block on the bearish side, so we were also respecting that. I was not actually here at market open this morning, but if I was looking at this before market open, I would not be trying to take a trade from this zone. I would either be waiting for a sweep of London high or for us to come down to London low, possibly even down here to this 15-minute fair value gap for a discount. So like I said, I was not here on the charts this morning, but if I were on the charts, this is probably what I'd be looking at. Above that, we also had two bearish 15-minute fair value gaps. So that was another factor. We had two bearish 15-minute fair value gaps up here. So if we trade up, we can potentially look to short at some of these. So that is what our 15 minutes looking like. Now let's go up to the 4-hour time frame. And then on our 4-hour time frame here, we were actually by a daily fair value gap. So if you remember from yesterday, we had used that daily fair value gap. And this morning, we also reached down into the mean threshold of a daily order block. So we also had this daily order block here. So these are our higher time frame narratives. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here for our order block mean threshold. And you can see how well it's respecting that level. So that's what we kind of had going into our day. We had a bearish sell-off into a daily level. There was also a weekly level here as well. And then the 4-hour time frame was trading up into this 4-hour fair value gap. Above that, we did have another gap up here. This was the new day opening gap. So that was another potential draw on liquidity that I was looking at this morning. But let's go ahead and fast forward back now that we have our levels drawn out and we can actually see what happened here. Going into market open, you can see that we do displace up. So there's no real rhyme or reason behind it other than that we swept down here. So we already had our manipulation. We ended up trading into this 15-minute bearish gap up here, and then we start to kind of taper off. So this was actually a really good opportunity here for a top tick entry earlier in the session. You could have either got in off the sweep of that high right there. Where would a 10-point stop be? 10-point stop would be right there. You would have just barely not gotten stopped out, so maybe a 15-point stop would have been better for that one, and then you could have taken it right back down to this breaker block. That was a nice 1 to 8 right there. Of course, I wasn't on the charts, but that's just a trade idea. And a lot of times, if we make a huge run up off market open and you miss it, wherever price tapers off on the 15, if it's by a key level like a 15-minute fair value gap consequent encroachment, and you also have a high that is layered with it, then that is a very good sign. Price likes to sweep the high of the previous 15 candle and sweep the PD array slightly above it and then start to deliver. So that's actually a really nice setup right there for a top tick. Now, price ends up making a bullish displacement leg. You can see now that we have this big bullish displacement leg, so we can look to take an entry off a discount level. So price actually does a nice job of coming into this level right here. Again, I was still not on the charts. I wasn't on the charts till about 10, 15, 10, 20. So this retraced to the 15-minute fair value gap consequent encroachment. And now watch this, guys. Watch what happens when it sweeps that low. Boom. It happened again. You can see it happened once there, happened again there. So whenever price closes after a run, boom, respects that fair value gap. It left a low. And then what does price do? It opens up, sweeps that, and then we're off to the races. So you could have targeted that high. Nice 1 to 10 right there. And the risk to rewards on this model are absolutely freaking insane, guys. And it's happening literally almost every other 15-minute candle. That's another opportunity. I was still not on the charts, and there was already 2 opportunities that had happened. Now I was on the charts. So by this time, I'm on the charts. I see this 15-minute candle. I see that we have retraced from here, and I'm thinking that we're going to target that 4-hour order block. So I'm thinking that's also, based on how this candle closed, that's also a good place that price could actually complete another stage of distribution, so second stage of distribution, and then start to retrace. And then I can catch the retracement to this bullish order block. So that was my trade idea going into this time fractal of price, and I was waiting to see how we close up at that level. So gonna go ahead and drop down to the 1 minute time frame here quickly, just so we can get some more detail. And you could see that that 4-hour order block is up there. So I actually placed my limit order here, 10-point stop as always, and then I was targeting the top of the order block. So you see we just start to make our way through nicely through that bearish 15-minute fair value gap. And then also I'm paying attention to the time, because I don't want to be too early in the candle, because then it could really just dig into this level for the whole 15-minute candle, and there's a high chance that we can just continue through the gap. I want to see it as it's tapering off so we can start to reject the candle on close, and then the next candle opens up and starts to run in that direction. Time and price, guys. Time and price. You can't just have the price element. You can't just have the time element. You have to have both in sync. Otherwise, it is not putting the probabilities all the way in your favor. Let's see. It starts to consolidate right here. I like how it's leaving relative equal highs here too. We come up to sweep those. We continue, and then we get filled right here. Beautiful rejection candle. I always love to see just like a nice big rejection wick, and then us close with enough space to move stop to break even. So that's always nice when that happens. Plays out very, very nicely. I take off 3 contracts out of the 6 right here. This was actually on my personal futures account. So 3 NQ contracts came off here, and then I took 1 more off here at the midpoint of the order block and 1 more at the 15-minute order block. You can see very, very smooth, very nice delivery. That's what happens when you catch the time element along with price. You just get very, very fast, smooth delivery. And then here's that on the 5-minute as well. So we had a very nice 5-minute fair value gap there too that I was also targeting. And then you could see on the 15-minute, we left a 15-minute gap. So that's the reason I took partials throughout here, just in case we didn't make it to that gap. And I actually had another limit order set at mean threshold of this. I was debating putting it on the order block, but if I had put it on the order block, we would have got a nice ping pong here. Honestly, worked out perfectly for a target, but I should have put my other limit buy right there as well, because if you notice, just goes right up to that target. Could have got in right there as well, but I have my limit right there, so just slightly below it. Of course, I didn't chase it because that is an amateur mistake. That is our trade for this morning, you guys. You can see very, very beautiful, beautiful top tick. Even though we arrived a little late, this still applies, guys. This still applies. So even if you work during 9:30, or maybe you can't make it to NYSE open exactly, or maybe you just wake up a little bit late, you could still use this model. So make sure to check out the top and bottom ticking model tutorial, full video tutorial breaking down this exact strategy. This is what took me from hitting like 1.5 to 2R trades to literally hitting for like 8R, 10R, 5R just on a regular basis. So really go ahead and check that out. Tons of you guys in the Discord are absolutely crushing it with this model. Max allocations, payouts. A lot of you guys are already making 5 figures a month simply using this strategy. So go ahead and check out my strategy video. Start using this for yourself. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, go ahead and click the link in the description and you can apply to work with me. But other than that, hope you guys have a blessed week, and we'll see you in the next one.